Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Kakwadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us his truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful like Akim, teaching and preaching his truth with all righteousness and sincerity. The Zakah Wasat, today's lesson is entitled, There are three different Greek words for the word world in the New Testament, and Lord willing, you be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, the true names of the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son. And as always, the sit downs, the lessons, the street speaking is for the remnant, the elect, the Israel of the Most High, and to you as the gospel preach. And this is more of a, basic lesson, and it's always good to go back on these lessons and, revisit these different topics from time. With us having new subscribers and people just waking up to the truth last week or whenever they recently woken up, they got to know these things because some things could come across as stumbling blocks if you're unlearned and you're not exercising the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And this app or this website that I'm using is the Blue Letter Bible, which allows us to go into the languages that the Bible is translated from. And by going into the Hebrew and going into the Greek, we get a better understanding of what's being said. Now, if you're not going into the languages that the Bible was translated from, then you can easily be in a situation where you can read certain precepts and you may be thinking that it's talking about everybody, and when in all actuality it's not. So once again, three different Greek words for the word world in the New Testament. So we're going to start here in John 3, the 3rd chapter, the 16th verse. We're going to read up a little bit. Start at 12. And this is Yahushai speaking to Nicodemus. And he's just edifying him through the Spirit, all right? It says, if I told you earthly things and ye believe not, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? Yeah, if I telling you basic stuff and the basic stuff is stumbling blocks to you, what about when I tell you heavenly things, which will require you to have faith to believe? It says that no man have ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man, which is in heaven. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. All right, and that serpent that was lifted up in the wilderness, when you go into that history, Jake was going off and the Lord has sent serpents to kill a lot of Jakes. And the Lord, had compassion on his people, and he instructed Moses to make a brazen serpent. And anyone that look upon it will get saved. And it was set up for the Israelites. So just as the serpent in the wilderness was lifted up, even so must be the Son of Man. So this is another precept that you could use that shows that Yahushai is only for the Israelites, because that serpent that was in the wilderness was only for Israel, right? It says that whosoever amongst the Israelites believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life. And words like whosoever and all, those words are stumbling blocks if you don't understand what you're reading, right? You can't just look at the word whosoever and you just apply it to everybody in the world. When you read it in context, it's speaking about the Israelites. So whosoever amongst the Israelites. Here's a point. For the Most High so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. So when you look at this on the face value and you see that it says for God so loved the world, you're thinking, a person that's not privy to the secrets and mysteries of the scripts, you may think that's talking about every damn body in all nations. But when you go into this word world here, and as you see, is the Greek language, the New Testament. Well, the Gospels, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It was translated from the Hebrew to the Greek and then to the various languages of the day. And here we see the Greek here, right? So when you go into the word world, it says cosmos, right? And then it gives you the outline of biblical usage. It says an apt and a harmonious arrangement or constitution, order, or government. And that's pretty much what cosmos is, all right? It's a particular sect, all right? And they have other usages here, but that first entry is pretty much the definition of that word. Now, to better explain what cosmos is, you have sports and then you have a particular sport. So you have the sports world, and then you have basketball, or you have soccer, or you have football. So the football, the basketball, the soccer, the baseball, that will represent cosmos. It's a particular sect of a harmonious arrangement. So out of all the nations that are in the world, John 3:16 is speaking about a particular nation, which is Israel. So cosmos is a particular of a harmonious arrangement. All right, and that's the best way to explain what cosmos is. Once again, you have sports, and then you have the sports world, which is compacted of various sports, from badminton to NASCAR, bull riding, tennis, baseball, basketball, softball, volleyball. Those particular sports, that will represents the cosmos. All right. The Lord willing, you with me on that. So that's one of the Greek words, cosmos. Now, going to the second Greek word for the word world, we're here in Matthew, the 24th chapter, okay? And we're going to start from the first verse. Now, Matthew, the 24th chapter goes into two different time periods. It goes into the Roman siege of Jerusalem, as well as the time when Yahushua is going to make his second return. Okay, so Matthew 24, verse 1. And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the building of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? So they want to know, like, hey, can you let us know when all these things is going to happen, and give us some tokens and some signs when you're going to make your return? So here you see the word world there. Now, is it the same Greek word that we went into in John 3? I'll tell you nay. You see it's ion there, or eon, depending on how you want to pronounce it. So when you go into this word world here in this particular verse in Matthew 24, verse 3, it's ion or eon. And it says, it has three entries. I'm going to get straight to the point. Entry 3 is the definition. It's a period of time or age. So what it's saying in Matthew 24:3, let me go up. Start in the middle. It says, "Tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world." So it's not talking about planet Earth, the end of planet Earth. It's speaking about the end of an age, an end of a time period. And it's talking about the end of Esau's rulership. All right. The end of the world is synonymous with the downfall of Esau. And let's get it real quick in 2nd Esdras 6. Because the whole world isn't going to explode and be done away with. The Lord hath not created the earth in vain. He created it to be inhabited, as it is written. This is 2nd Esdras 6. Start at 7, point is at 9. It says, "Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting of sunder of times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth?" And this is Esdras, which Esdras, he was a Levite as well. A lot of the prophets were Levites. Jeremiah was a Levite. Esdras was a Levite. Ezekiel was a Levite. And that's 3 right there. So a lot of them were Levites. But what Esdras is asking Uriel is, when is going to be the transition to, us ruling? It says, "And he said unto me," this is Uriel, "from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the hill of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." So the end of the world is synonymous with the end of Esau. All right. And Esau is going to be done away with. He's going to reach the end of his rulership, Isaiah 47. And going back to Matthew the 24th chapter, the 3rd verse, when it says the end of the world, is speaking about the end of an age, an end of a rulership, an end of a time period, the end of Esau's rule. That's what it's talking about. All right. And then Yahushua began to give them various prophecies and let them know what things to look for when he make his return. So just a brief recap. John 3:16, that the word world there, when you go into it in the Greek, is cosmos. Matthew 24:3, when you go into that word world, it's ion or eon, which is a time period. So now let's go to our last one here in Revelation, the 3rd chapter. And, these 3 precepts is the ones that the Spirit gave me. You can go and find different ones. You just do your research. But let's see. This is Revelation 3:10. "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, kept the prophecies, you believed in them, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth." Now, this is going into when Esau make that implantable technology mandatory. It's going to be the hour of temptation. It's going to come a time period where you're going to be tested to see if you're going to take that technology or not. And we see the word world there, so now let's go into it. So here, the Greek word for the word world is oikomene. All right, oikomene. And as you can see, by going into these different words, there's different Greek words that, that defines this word world here. So, like I said, I'm gonna get straight to the point. Oikomene, the first entry, that is the correct definition, the inhabited earth. So when Esau pushed this implantable technology, like we read in Revelation 13, he calls us all, both small and great, both rich and poor, both free and bond, to receive that implantable technology in their right hand or in their forehead. So when he pushed that agenda, it's going to be pushed out all throughout the world, So that's what this is speaking about in Revelation 13 and 10. The word world there is speaking about the inhabited earth. Let's read it again. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, believed in the truth, believed in the prophecies, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. The Lord will give you a spirit to denounce it, which shall come upon all the world, all the inhabited earth, to try them that dwell upon the earth. So, three examples of um, going into the word world in these three different precepts, and we're seeing different Greek words for the word world there. And if you were reading it without going into the Greek, then you would think it's talking about everybody in the planet. All right. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Just a quick lesson, basic lesson. And Lord willing, it was edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us true. Shalom, Akim. Stay strong.